So I did the back to the grind, the Rugen Industries corporate um, missions. It was about 8 hours of mission. It was a lot of content. I've done it one time before on my main character. Um, this is where you get your ability to manipulate. You get your neural link that allows you to use your scanner to target something and then um, choose whether you're going to intimidate them or control them, manipulate them. What are you going to do? And so here, I triggered this NPC. The task is to try to get him to open the door. It's a little bit tricky at first, learning how to do it, learning how to make that work. But I didn't get it right away. It's like it goes on cooldown or something. But anyway, it's one of the things that you'll do is you'll learn to manipulate. This is the story is going to come down to making a choice of whether uh, the industry, the corporation that you're working for is making this, but there's ethical considerations of being able to mind control somebody, making a device that can mind control. It's a whole can of worms that you can imagine uh, would result from that kind of technology, and they kind of go through that. And so this is where you get implanted with the ability, with the technology that allows you to do this. And it's a key factor in doing the missions, having this neural link, because these particular missions are um, stealth missions. They're not combat missions. They're avoiding combat, avoiding detection. It's espionage, counter espionage, corporate backstabbing, not literal stabbing, but the figurative corporate backstabbing kind of scenarios where um, it's about manipulation and persuasion and negotiation and sneaking around and not getting caught and that sort of thing. And so they'll send you in to your competitor's industry where there, there's a whole lot of hostiles there that you've got to avoid, sneak through the shafts and um, trigger events to make it where a lot of the people leave, and so you have less, less, less people to observe you, and you make it easier to sneak around because there's fewer NPCs. But there's still the guards are still there, and you've got to be able to use your neural link to either manipulate them or trick them or get him to do something. Um, as a starborn with void form, I use that a lot because that being able to just go stealth, use void form, and run down the hall, pass a bunch of stuff undetected, um, is a real big advantage. They give you a operative suit, and the operative suit has um, it enhances your ability to not be detected while in stealth by 25%. I went into the creation kit and modded mine and gave it chameleon also. Gave it the keyword chameleon. Chameleon does not show on it, but it's got the um, operating uh, trade on it. It's got two adjustments that I made that make it where it's a little bit better. The thing is that it's the operative suit isn't really a suit; it's apparel, so it can be worn under your suit. So you get a stacking of the advantages that the operative apparel gives you, which I was able to also doctor and make the apparel have chameleon, um, as well as what your suit has. That'll stack together. So it made it a little bit easier, but you run around, avoid being detected, don't get in any fights, you don't most certainly don't shoot anybody. They give you an EM weapon in case you get into an encounter, but that's never going to pan out. You just forget about the EM weapon and don't even save frequently so that you can pull back up. You want to go by everything without any encounters. You want to manipulate them. You want to stealth by, um, and you got to. This part is actually towards the end. And then once you have gone through and done all of that, you'll uh, you'll discuss with all the board members your perspective and try to get all the board members on board on to agree to support um, your objective, which would be that you think that this Neuralink is good and they should market it and go ahead with making it, or you think that it's bad, it's an invasion of privacy, there's lots of legal issues, so on and so forth. And so the story basically goes with you decide somewhere along the line your position on all of that, and then you have to persuade others to agree with you. And I mean that's what the gameplay is. It's like I say, it's about corporate kind of atmosphere of persuasion and negotiation and figurative backstabbing and manipulation and so on and so forth. Um, Trade secrets, so on and so forth. And it's interesting. It's not combat, and so you need to be sure that you have those talents. And if you've got those talents, the persuasion and negotiation and intimidation, you want to have your points in that because it's going to make a lot of difference in the ease of going through all of this. Uh, you want to be sure and have your stealth, and you want to, if you can, also have your void farm, and it'll make things a lot better, a lot easier. So I'm going to go ahead and skip past this and get into the next part. Okay, so eventually there's one of the NPCs. Um, there's a turn with the story that you make choices about, and the end result is plays out depending on your choices. For me, the way that it played out, I wound up getting a corporate office and they gave me access to their mission kiosk. And the mission kiosk is like it's like the kiosk for the Free Star Rangers, where you get your missions and you can go run POIs or chase down pirates in space or whatever. They give you bounties or so forth. Um, the the pirates have their kiosks. If you go do the pirate um, thing and wind up staying on the pirate key. There's a kiosk there where you do pirate missions, and you've got the trader that has them. Well, with with this mission line, you wind up getting access to this mission board, and they have their own um, missions that you can pick up that are, corporate espionage stuff. Um, I'll pull it up here in a moment. I'll click on it and I'll show you what the missions are. But this is my office that they gave me. I've had this once before on my main character. Um, when I got to the office, there was a legendary 2311 that I got. I don't see anything like that this time. So maybe that was just random. I don't know. Um, but you have an office here now, and you have a kiosk, and here with the kiosk, hack trade tower for this for a competitor, plant evidence on these people, sabotage Laredo firearms. It's all corporate backstabbing kind of stuff that is going to be sneaking around, breaking in places, not getting caught, using your intimidation and manipulation and persuasion kind of skills, as opposed to shoot 'em up. And that's a basic difference. Is this the gameplay is going to be that? So after I get through with all of that, I'm currently now sitting at about 38 hours played time, and that has still been a consistent third megabyte per hour average in save file growth. So I'm like sitting at 11.3 megabytes, I think, now, with 5,179 hours played per Steam. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to continue to uh, do missions. I'm going to build ship modules and capture ships. And I'm going to try to see if it's the ship modules being populated or a bunch of ships or what it is that actually affects my save file suddenly growing a lot like it does on my other mod. It could just be that there's something that's different that it doesn't clean up on my other mod, but is cleaning up here. Maybe there's some update or something that didn't take place because of my load order with my other mod. I like what the color turned out on this ship. This was just a trash ship that was abandoned that I dropped a outpost marker on and then went back later after the NPCs disappeared and picked it up and then built it. What I'm doing is I'm capturing ships and I'm building them, but I'm using empty hab because I'm trying to decide what empty habs I want to use as the hull for new custom habs, and to what degree I want to populate them. Um, the stuff that I will probably populate for the custom will be stuff like here, basically the workshop. All I need is those two workbenches, and I didn't really use anything else in the workshop, so I could get by with that. Here, this is actually the Teo 1x3 empty engineering hab, and I might actually use that as a captain's quarter template and build that out. Put a bed in it, put a desk in it, put a couple of other items in it. Maybe take out some of those partitions, maybe not. I'll decide as I go along. I won't populate anything where the windows and door ports are because I'm not going to do any manipulation of the uh, changing structure. This is what you have when you don't have a window, and this is what you have when you populate a punch a door or a window here. I'm not going to mess with any of that. I'm not going to mess with any of the colors. That's why I want to go with the cleanest, um, less uh, populated with shelves and stuff habs, but that 1 by 3 Teo, Teo is kind of limited with what they've got. Like there's not a Teo does not have a 3 by 3, and Teo does not have a 2 by 3 top that or bottom, but they have a top, and the top does not have any snap points on the top. So they're a little bit weird with what's available. So I've got to go through with the flexibility that I want in choosing what habs, and also the interior being something that I find pleasing, and I like the clean um, interiors of the Teo Hab, so that's why I tend to use them. But I will use that Demos 3 by 1 um, empty living quarter because it's got some um, structure that I want to use that's already existing. And I think that I'm going to use that 3 by 1 Teo engineering empty and turn that into being a captain's quarters and populate it with some stuff. But basically, what I will be doing though is I'll just be putting things like pictures and fixing the walls where uh, I can put something in and it squares up and looks right. So basically, these are the ships that I've captured and I've done up, and I'm 10 out of 10 now. Which I've actually expanded the number of ships that I can have. I've executed a change statement that allows me to have more than 10 ships, more than 10 mannequins if I want, um, and the the amount of modules that you use. Um, I've run into some problems with that. One of the problems was when I was doing persistent ships is that uh, it wouldn't be I wouldn't be able to completely populate them identically, like put all the windows and stuff in it because it was exceeding the module count. I'm not doing that now. I'm going to stick within the limits, um, and I'm not going to put any persistent ships out. I'm trying to make it where I've got the least amount of load. And so the habs will be either empties that I populate, or they will be empties that I put a few things in that I always place, the way that I always use it, like um, the armory. There's a couple of things that I always put in I probably would not put the bed there on this hab if it was a custom because that wall needs to be able to open, so that bed wouldn't be able to go there. Um, but if it's an empty hab that I'm using, I can put it wherever I want to put it when I put it in a ship, and depending on where the walls and the windows are. Um, just like the wardrobe in the back, I can put it there because there's nothing behind it. There's no portal, but I couldn't put it in a custom because it would prevent a door from getting punched unless I did the edit that said, okay, well, if there's going to be a door here, then you got to replace that and these pieces with a different configuration, which the creation kit facilitates, but I'm not going through all of that. I'm going to keep it simple. But anyway, so what I'm going to be tracking now is I'm just going to be going in and doing stuff, playing the game, and capturing ships and populating ships, doing missions if I feel like it. I'm pretty sure that doing the missions and just continuing to play the way I've played, that the growth rate's going to be a third of a meg an hour. But so I'm not really even paying much attention to that anymore. The way that I'm going to figure out in the end what the end result is that I'll take the hours played that I wind up with when the save file starts breaking, when it gets to a size that starts breaking, and I'll be able to do the math and figure out from where I am now at 38 hours played time and a 11.3 megabyte save file to where it breaks and how many hours played I've got, subtracting the hours played I've got right now, and be able to make a determination of, okay, and how many hours in this change from 11.3 megabytes or whatever it is that it breaks at, and the 5179 hours played, subtracted from the hours played when all that takes place, and I'll be able to make a determination. Okay, in how many hours did I play? How much did I wind up with the save file size being when it broke? What is that per hour growth rate on average? What is that limit? And what things did I find that seemed to make it start growing faster? Doing the quest, it all seems to be a steady one third per hour, one third a megabyte per hour. But if I start populating habs and building a lot of ships, that might change, or it may stay steady. I don't know. It could just be that there's a difference between um, my old mod that's got all those POIs and such, that the load order is stepping on some fix they made that writes and cleans the save file, cleans stuff that doesn't need to be in the save file anymore out when you leave a location or leave a mission or whatever. It may not, but that's what it looks like. I've been experiencing is that there's a routine that when you do a mission, you're going to get the information for that mission when you're at that location, and you'll see that save file size grow. But once you've completed it and that POI is done or that mission's done, and you're not going back to that facility anymore, that's it's not accessible anymore. I think there's a routine that cleans that out of your save file, and all you've got is the residual um, save file information that says you did it. This is uh, um, the achievements that you did, or this is the impact of that, which is probably doesn't consume as much as it was consuming with having to map out other information that was associated. I don't know that that's true, but that is what my perception, it makes it, what my observation is what goes through my mind that may be happening. Um, so I could just be imagining that that's what's happening, and that's not at all what's happening. I don't know, but that's the explanation that I can give as far what it seems like is going on from what I'm experiencing. And so I'm going to continue to do these missions and build ships and go and build modules and see if I can find uh, anything that makes it grow faster steadily and stay growing, or whether it just is steady. Um, that'll be determined. Part of one of the things that makes that save file grow, though, is like what I'm going through here, is all of the stuff that you collect. Every time that you capture a ship and you rebuild it, once it's yours, all of the miscellaneous items that were in that ship, all of the weapons, all of the armor, all of the stuff that was in that ship, the dishes, the markers, the notepads, the empty Terra Brew cups, all of that garbage goes into your miscellaneous items. You wind up with 250 items with stacks of 50 notepads and pencils and markers and succulents and all kinds of little plants and doodahs and whatever. And I think that that makes a difference in your save file size. So going in and cleaning that up makes a difference. But we'll see.